Alright everybody, Azaro here for the E3 Sony PlayStation conference reactions. So we're just gonna dive right into it. Um, yeah. So PlayStation 3. So the the conference starts off with a trailer for Arkham Origins, and it was announced that it will be some exclusive skins and some exclusive content on the PlayStation 3 for the Nightfall DLC and the 1960s TV show Skin Batman. So that was some cool little bonuses. And they also announced that uh that um that Grand Theft Auto 5 will come with an exclusive bundle for for $299, and it comes with like this headset um that has GT5 on it, like on the sides of them, so they look pretty cool. So you guys can get you some cool headsets as well as a PlayStation 3 with GT5, and yeah, so that's gonna be for $299 um in the bundle. So excuse me, man, I got a lot of gas in my chest. But yeah, so they move on to the PlayStation 4, and they introduce the president of and group CEO, um, Andrew House, who comes out and he reveals the PlayStation 4 finally. And the best way that I can explain the design of the PlayStation 4 is that it looks like a smaller, slimmer version of the Xbox 360, but it's kind of leaning like a rhombus on the side. So that's the best way I can describe it. And it looks like a cool little design. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much it for that. Um, he then introduces Michael Linton. I believe I got that right. Michael Linton, the CEO of Sony Entertainment and the chairman and CEO of Sony Pictures Entertainment, who spoke on the music and video unlimited features of the PlayStation 4, and it will be exclusive content that you can only get on the PlayStation 4. And also how both will be ready on the day of the PlayStation 4's launch. Um, and along with that, with that, there will be Netflix, um, Redbox Instant, Verizon, etc. Um, I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anything. And you'll be able to purchase pay-per-views uh, through your PlayStation 4. Now, when they said this, he had also mentioned that they will be um, working on some type of partnerships with various companies in order for you to buy pay-per-views through your Xbox, and you can watch them on your PlayStation 4. Duh, different conference, and you'll be able to watch them through your PlayStation 4. And when they mentioned this, it was a back up on one of the screens. They had a poster for WWE's upcoming pay-per-view this Sunday called Payback. So from that, I'm assuming that one of the companies that they're in talks with um, is the WWE. So it would be cool to kind of buy some pay-per-views, for WWE, for all the wrestling fans out there that do still watch WWE. They'll be able to buy and purchase and watch, buy, purchase, and watch their favorite pay-per-views on their home console on the PlayStation 4. So that was really cool. Also, Flickster will be available soon on the PlayStation 4. They announced that. Then Shu Yoshida then comes out, the president of Sony's Worldwide Studios, and introduces a PlayStation 4 exclusive game called The Order 1886. Now, this takes place during the Industrial Revolution, and there's these four guys, and there's going into like this dark, foggy, sound like part of town. And when they get there, the driver ends up getting just snatched up by some unknown monster, and then all of them get out, and these like werewolves, monster looking silhouettes just come out of the middle of nowhere, and they're just shooting at them. And then, you know uh that trailer ends, and it looked it pretty good from what they showed, but they didn't really show any actual gameplay. But the trailer does kind of, saying like poke at the interest of that. Um, let me see. Let me see. They then played a gameplay trailer of Killzone Shadowfall. And one of the things about Killzone Shadowfall that they showed in the demo is that there's like this little bot that follows you around, and like he can um uh um create shields, um uh scout ahead, uh and I think I seen him use like a little mini turret or something like that. So that's kind of cool. That they added that. Uh, it's a racing game called Drive Club. Uh, Another game called um Knack, and then there's Infamous Second Son. All of which, with the exception of Infamous Second Son, Knack, uh, um, Killzone, and Drive Club will all be launch titles, and I believe Infamous Second Son will be coming out early 2014. But I don't want you to quote me on that because I like watched all these yesterday and I didn't really get everything because I had to get up and do some other things. But I believe he said like early uh 2013 to 2014. So yeah, so you guys can check up on that date. Um, they played a trailer for um the Dark Sorcerer, and in the trailer it was this guy like he was trying to conjure up these spells, and he had this goblin next to him, and then all of a sudden like he fucked up on one of the words, and then he stopped, and then it turns out to be like this big movie set that this guy is trying to like act out, and it was kind of funny the way they had it happen. He was like, "Oh shit, fuck! You know what? I need to change the script," and little things like that. And it was pretty funny. So I'm interested in seeing how that game comes about. Then Adam Boyes, vice president of third-party relations, comes out to speak on the indie partnerships that they've been developing, and also he had brought out Amir Rao and Greg Canavan. I believe I pronounced that name right. Of Supergiant Games, which brought you Bastion, a role-playing game that was released back in 2011. In order to introduce you to their new game, Transistor, and it kind of looks like Bastion a little bit, but the colors are like a bit brighter, and it looks kind of fun, in my opinion. So Adam then comes back out and he speaks on how they're allowing indie game developers to publish their own content, and then he introduces several of the indie game developers that uh that Sony are working with. The first of which is Clay Entertainment that brought you Shank and the Mark of the Ninja. Uh, they're working on a new game called Don't Starve, and mind you, as he was introducing each of these um indie game creators, like they were uh playing their game, and I can't really describe, so like Don't Starve, but it's kind of like these chibi characters and they're walking around, and I'm guessing the purpose of the game is for you to like just harvest food or something like that. So that's what Don't Starve looked like to me. But it had like a dark and eerie feel to it. Next up was Tribute Games, which brought you Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and they're bringing Mercenary Kings. And the best way I can describe that game, it's like Metal Slug made with the same graphics and design that Scott Pilgrim had. So like you just put those two elements together, and then you pretty much got saying like Mercenary Kings. Next up, you have Young Horses that brings you Octodad, Dadliest Catch, and it's kind of like this ragdoll type of puzzle game. I'm assuming. because all he really was doing was just moving this Octodad around, and he's just moving around like a rag doll. So it really wasn't nothing impressive. But then again, I don't really know that much about it because they didn't really he didn't really do nothing in the demo besides what I said. He just moved it around, and he was just flailing his arms, looking like that's that's what it looked like. If you guys seen the conference, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh man, well, go home, Octodad, you're drunk. Um, Next up, we have Switchblade Monkeys brings you Secret Ponchos, which looks like an MMO style like shooter slash action game, and that looks really good to me. Like, I like those styles of games. And there's Ragtag Studios, and they're bringing you Raise the Dead, where you're playing as this guy named Ray, and he's able to raise up like the dead, and you create this army of zombies, and basically the whole objective of that game is for you to find out why was Ray killed. So that seems like a cool little game. And then Red Barrels bring you Outlast, which is a horror survivor game, which is something else I'm looking forward to. Then we have Oddworld Inhabitants bringing you a remake of the PlayStation 1 game, Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. They're remaking it, and they're calling it Oddworld New and Tasty. So for those of you who remember that game, it was a very unique and creative video game for the PlayStation 1. I never beat it, unfortunately. If I can get my hands on that game, I'm for damn sure going to play it. But yeah, like, it's good to see that they're making a new, Abe's Odyssey remake. You know what I mean? Like they're making an Abe's Odyssey remake, because that game did have some cool features that at the time I was playing it. Like, I never played it on YouTube, but it was a good game. Then up next we have 17-bit games bringing you Galaxy Z, and that game is kind of like a modernized version of like the Asteroid arcade machine from like the 70s, 60s. Yeah, like, I'm not too sure about when Asteroids came out on arcade, but it was pretty much like way back in the day. But yeah, like, it's pretty much like a modernized version of that. Like, that's the best way I can explain that game. And then he goes on to say that all of these games will be making their PlayStation 4 exclusive debut. And then he announces that Blizzard will be bringing Diablo 3 to the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4, and that they will have exclusive items in them from other PlayStation franchises, such as Drake's amulet from Uncharted, and some shoulder braces that were inspired by Journey. So, moving on. Sony then played a video message by Tetsuya Nomura, who is a director at Square Enix of the Final Fantasy 13 series, and a trailer plays for this new game, which is Final Fantasy 15, and it doesn't look like. All right, so like, for what they showed in the trailer, like, it doesn't look like it's a typical, like Final Fantasy 13 game. You know what I mean? They just completely redesigned like the combat system and things like that. It doesn't play like the Final Fantasy 13 games at all. It's more like an action adventure game, more so than an RPG. Like, it doesn't play like an RPG at all. And there's new characters in the game, and it actually looks pretty great, and I can't wait to get my hands on that. Again, like, there's no I didn't see any release date for it, so just forgive me if that was something that I missed. Maybe you guys can inform me of that. And then they had one more trailer to play. So when the trailer started, I seen this Disney logo, and this is Square Enix. Now, when you see Disney, a like Walt Disney logo, and it's a trailer for a Square Enix game, it's really only one thing comes to mind. And another thing that confirmed that I knew that this is the game that I was thinking about when they started doing this montage of all these various Kingdom Hearts games that came out. Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts Recoded, Kingdom Hearts uh, um, 358 in 2 days, and various other ones. And then it zooms onto the beach where there's this Keyblade, and then Sora comes and picks up that Keyblade, and then he runs into town, and then there's this Sea of Heartless just coming follow him, like just chasing him into the town, and then he starts riding the wave, and then he jumps off, and then he bashes the front of that wave of Heartless, and then that little demo ends. It turns out it was Kingdom Hearts 3. They're making it. You people can stop complaining. They're finally making Kingdom Hearts 3. Congratulations, fans. You're getting what you want. And they said that it's in development. So they're currently making it right now. So, like, they had. Like, they didn't really have any gameplay. They just showed Sora running around and, just riding on the wave of this Sea of Heartless that was chasing after him. So, it's in development. Yay. So, then Adam mentioned that Final Fantasy 14 will be coming to the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 3, which is good to know, because if you're changing Final Fantasy, versus 13 or whatever the new name would have been to Final Fantasy 15, then what the hell? Okay, there's 13 and there's 15. Where's number 14? So that game is coming to the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 3. Then they proceeded to Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. And the PlayStation 4 version will have some missions where Aveline from Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation will be playable as a character. So when they started the demo of Black Flag, and right off it was issues with with the demo. Like, the game had like several freezes right before the gameplay started, and even during the gameplay, it just kept freezing for like 5 seconds, and then it started up again. And this continued to happen. Now the gameplay, it's really just like pirate themed, what I'm saying, like pirate themed typical Assassin's Creed gameplay. What I'm saying, like, that's the best way I can describe what they shown. And as they were playing through the game, he was swinging, what I'm saying, like, on different ships, and it looked like the demo was about to be finished, but right before it could be finished, the game locked up. The game locked up. So that was embarrassing. And now, I'm looking at that like, well, is the PlayStation 4, so like going to be able to handle, saying, like, the graphical capabilities of that game, and are there other games? But then again, like, it is a demo, so that they have time to go back and fix whatever they need to fix to make sure that doesn't happen to the consumer. So yeah, but still, like that's embarrassing to see. So then the creative director for Watch Dogs come out, named, and his name is Jonathan Morris, I believe that's his name, or like Morin. And like, he proceeds to talk about Watch Dogs, and you're playing the role of Aiden Pierce, this vigilante who is able to hack anything from his smartphone. Saying I had to get some type of visual in there. But yeah, like, he's able to get, like, hack anything from his smartphone, and like, he does this several times. So like, during the the demo, and the demo starts off with Aiden, and he's talking to his friend T-Bone, who had broken into this hotel in order to steal some type of technological computer chip or whatever. And the police are looking for him, and they're also looking for Aiden. Well, like, it's this group of people called the Fixers that are looking for Bone for trying to steal whatever he was trying to steal, and the police are looking for Aiden, and they already have his face and his vehicle recognized. So when the demo starts, like, the guy, he's driving through the city, and he's like hiding in dark corners, and he has to cut off his of the lights on his vehicle, like in order to avoid police detection. So finally, he starts driving down the highway, and the helicopter light spots him. And then he's driving as fast as he can. He goes underneath the bridge, and there's this gate to the left side of him. So what he does is that he uses his phone to hack into the gate, and he opens up, and he drives in there, and he hides, and he waits for the cop to pass. So like another thing that they did was that is that he had got out the car and he went into this coffee shop. Of course, like he had hacked into the door, you know what I'm saying, where the coffee shop was, and he opened it, and then he went in there, and on the wall there was a TV, and it was showing his face that he's like a wanted fugitive or whatever. And this guy that was behind him, like this red triangle just started flashing above his head, and he recognized the dude's face, and he went outside to make a phone call to 911, and you can hear it. It's like 911, what's your emergency, you know, and such. And then Aiden, he walks over to him, and he snatches the phone out of his hand, and he breaks it. And so it looks like it's going to be one of those type of games where you're going to have to, you know, like prevent yourself from, like, you're going to have to do your best to try to stop other people from trying to call the police on you and things such as that nature. Um, Also, um, it was times where he had hacked into some security cameras in order to help his friend escape. And he was also hacking into other things as well. Like while he was hacked into the security camera, and his friend was over hiding in the corner, like he caused some distractions as guys were walking in the room that T-Bone was in, and the guy still had moved over to the left while T-Bone was over here on the right, and he was able to sneak out of that room. And then during another part, it was like this scene where there were these walls, and they were made out of these columns, and they were like, you know, like high and low. And on one part he was trying to, like, really trying to uh sneak him by all of those people that were trying to kill him. And you have to make sure that all these platforms are raised, you know, up to pretty much make like a solid wall and things like that. And you have to let him know, okay, yeah, like now it's time to move, go ahead and move, and you got to make sure that he doesn't get killed. So eventually, you know, during this part of the game, he ends up, you know, making it out, and him and Aiden are together. And then this car pulls up and starts shooting, and he tries to kill Bone. This guy hops out the car and he tries to kill Bone, and then, you know, and then you have to kill those guys before they get to Bone. So finally, once Bone is in the car, he drives off, he's safe, and now you gotta hide. And then you jump over like the bridge or something, or like you go to this boardwalk, and there's two cops that have found you, and they're sneaking up on you, and you got your phone in your hand like this, and he had pushed something on his phone, and he caused a total blackout of the city temporarily. And he was able to beat up the cops, and he hopped into a boat and he drove off, and that was the end of the demo. So they doing some pretty impressive stuff with that game, and that game right there seems like it's really going to be good. So I was impressed by that. So, oh, another thing, during that little during that little scene where he was trying to get in the car, well, he was trying to get the car for T-Bone, there was this helicopter that came out, and even though they didn't say anything about it, it was a screen where they were showing, of course, smart glass. And on the iPad he had pushed where the helicopter was, and then all of a sudden, like, the helicopter malfunctioned, and it blew up. So that's something cool that they added. You know, even though they didn't try to shove it down our throat, you know, like they still showed that you can use smart glass with it. So it's whatever. So then, PlayStation announces an extra hour for the PlayStation 4. That for Watch Dogs there will be an extra hour of gameplay that will be available to those that buy for the PlayStation 4, and you will get an exclusive outfit. So that's kind of making you want to buy it for the PlayStation 4 even more. And then they show a video of LeBron James, and he was talking to like a video game version of himself. And then he started doing like this montage of him doing dunks in the video game and things like that. Didn't really show anything beyond that. Wasn't no gameplay of the next 2K, game or whatever. Like, it was just a montage of him doing dunks, and you know, it wasn't really anything. Then they showed a trailer for Elder Scrolls Online, and it was announced that those who have it on PlayStation 4, those who are PlayStation Plus members, will get an early access to the beta of that game. So yeah, so that's pretty damn good. So a trailer played for Mad Max, and in the trailer, you know, this guy, like, he's in like this wasteland, and he's driving up, and he sees this guy on the ground, and he kicks him over, and the guy is saying kill me, and he reaches for his gun and he points it at him, and then he looks inside the barrel and he only has one shot left. Then he closes it and he gets back in his car and he drives off. And then you're thinking, oh man, this dude just left him there in the desert to die. And then all of a sudden, like, you hear this engine, he's driving up and he just runs over a dude's head, and it was crazy. And yeah, Mad Max is coming to the PlayStation 4, and there will be an exclusive Road Warriors kit that will be for the PlayStation 4. So again, these features, man, like, they're adding up. So of course then Jack Tretton comes back out, who is the president of Sony Entertainment of America, and announces it's more than 140 games in development for the PlayStation 4 right now, and that more than over 100 of them, I believe that he said, will be released in the first year of the PlayStation 4, if I'm not mistaken. And then after this is when the shots towards Microsoft start happening. They took some direct shots. It was like everything that they heard the people speaking negatively about Microsoft, they decided not to go that route. And I really got to applaud Sony for this. Now, this is where the epic moment happens. So first off, Jack Tretton announces that PlayStation 4 won't have any used game restrictions on it. Now, this is good because, Microsoft, they have this new thing where they feel like they got to put a chokehold on a user game market. Everybody may not have $60 to go out there and buy a game. Maybe they can spend $30 or like $20 at like a used game, retailer, saying, like, such as GameStop or what have you. And but Microsoft, they got a chokehold on them, and it's like you got to get authorization or something like that, like, in order for them to get profit off your games at Microsoft for the Xbox One games. And it's just like, man, like, you putting us through all these hurdles just to buy a used game. Like, why? So PlayStation 4 announced there won't be any restrictions on on used game content, or on used games. So you guys will be able to trade in, sell at retail, or like sell back to retailers, like your games that you want. You can lend them to a friend without them having, to worry about some type of crazy like some crazy internet authentication, and or you can keep it forever. That's what he said. And in addition to that, to disc-based games, you do not need to connect online to play. Now, you thought this would have been good enough news. Of course not. They're taking shots at Microsoft. They want them to know that, your console is not going to win this console war. And he said, if you enjoy playing PlayStation 4 games offline, the system won't require for you to check in online periodically. And mind you, during all these announcements, the crowd went crazy. The dude couldn't even talk through him. Like, they were just cheering just so loud, and it's something to be happy about, because at first people were starting to think, man, I hope PlayStation 4 doesn't do anything like this. And for them to say that just puts like a big sigh of relief on them. So yeah, so the PlayStation 4 already has my vote, as like the best next generation, console coming home for that right there. And you thought that would have been it. No, it's not enough. Other features on the PlayStation 4, you know, is like you won't have to check in periodically, you know, in your system. Like the system won't force you to check in periodically, and like the game won't start working if you don't or whatever. So again, another shot at Microsoft. Maybe you can learn a thing or two. Other features on the PlayStation 4 are that when you're downloading a game off PlayStation Network, you can play it while it's loading in the background, cross-game video chat, and making a transition to a friends network based on your real friends. So that's cool. It's a new share button where you can upload, live stream via Ustream. I kind of wish they had like the Twitch TV thing going for them. What I'm saying, like the Xbox One, but they don't. Um, PlayStation Plus members can carry over their PlayStation Plus accounts to the PlayStation 4, free of charge. And they were also saying that if you bought if you currently have a PlayStation Plus account, you won't have to buy it for the PlayStation 4. You can move it over to the Vita, the PlayStation 4, or the PlayStation 3. It's pretty much cool. And for those who are wondering, I've seen like two packages for the PlayStation Plus. One was like this $50 1 year plus 3 bonus months deal that they had, and another one was like uh it was like $18 for 3 months. So I mean, like, that's what I seen. I don't know if they have any more, but like those were the two that I seen online. So there you go. And also PlayStation Plus members get discounted games, cloud saves, automatic game updates, and early beta game access, um, and extended game collection, and online multiplayer for the PlayStation 4. Now this is when a question mark came up on my head. This is when a question mark came on my head. Um, you need PlayStation Plus in order to play online, um, on the PlayStation 4, which is kind of a letdown. Like, why are you pushing me into into buying the PlayStation Plus? But then again, when you think about it, what was the main gripe on the PlayStation 3 that everybody was making? That Sony needs to charge in order to fix their networking because the Xbox had better online capabilities, than the PlayStation 3. Like the Xbox 360 had better online capabilities than the PlayStation 3, and people were all over forums, what I'm saying, all over these community forums. They were saying, why don't they just charge for online play, for these online capabilities? So they're finally doing it, and from the deals I've seen, like, you're getting some pretty good deals. Like I said, one of the deals I seen, it was $50 for 1 year plus 3 bonus months for your first year, and there was another one for 3 months for $18. So the year plus 3 bonus months for your first year was $50, and then they had a 3 month one for $18. Oh, excuse me, it was peanut butter Snickers, but but yeah, so that's some. So I'm kind of glad they listened for that, but at the same time, I don't think that they should have, I don't know, forced it. But then again, hey, you guys wanted it, and they gave it to you. They were listening, so can't complain. And yeah, and for those who aren't PlayStation Plus members, they announced that uh, those who aren't PlayStation Plus members will be able to enjoy a single player mode for free, and access to media services won't require a PlayStation Plus account. So that's cool. So thumbs up for that. Also, PlayStation Plus members will get Drive Club PlayStation Plus Edition immediately during the first year. In addition to that, PlayStation Plus members will get one free game a month. So yeah, so you're looking at it like, okay, with Xbox Live Gold membership, saying, like, I'll be getting 2 free games a month, but with PlayStation Plus, I'll be getting 1 free game a month. But then again, like, you look at all the stuff, all the other things that you have to worry about with the systems. like I feel like the PlayStation 4 does more, in my opinion. Then Jack went on to announce the new IP between Bungie and Activision called Destiny, which seems to be like a first-person shooter that takes place in this post-apocalyptic era. And like one of the features seems to be like this drop-in, drop-out co-op. And like it was during a demo, like they did this one or two times, where they had people just flying in on these ships and they just drop down, and then like they just join the game. So I don't know if this is going to be like one of those typical, you know, MMO style shooters or what. But yeah. So but the game does look pretty cool. I gotta admit, there's this new monster in there. So like uh called the Devil Walker. So like there's upgrades. So like look for your guns and things like that. And like the Devil Walker is like this big robotic spider slash mech looking thing, and he looks pretty devastating. Looks pretty cool. But overall, yeah, like I think that the game looks pretty good. Like it looks okay, but of course you got to wait till it actually comes out, and so we can see. So everything remains to be seen. Um, yeah, after they showed like the demo for that, Andrew House came back out and announced that, and he announced some details about the cloud gaming services will be available in 2014 through um, through Gaikai, a technology team to ensure that there's that to ensure fast gaming network. That the gaming network is fast for you guys, and that the console quality will be available, and console quality games will be available through other devices such as your phone, the iPad, etc. So that's cool. Um, then he announces the price for the PlayStation 4 will be $399 United States, uh, 399 Euro dollars, and 349 pounds in the UK, which people were just up in arms about. So let me get this right: we're getting all this exclusive content. We don't have to worry about the BS that we have to deal with the Xbox One. You're giving us one free game a month. Um, like you're not putting your gamers and your consumers in a chokehold because of this. How much better can this get? You know what I mean? Like you pretty much put smiles on our faces when you said that you're not doing with that everything that Microsoft is doing to the consumer, and then you got the nerve to offer the damn system to us $100 less. It's like take my money now. Just take my money, take my clothes, take my shoes, take my watch. Here, take the glasses, take my drawers. It's just like people were just, like people were just that excited about it, and yeah, it's something to smile about. $100 less, and I ain't got to put up with the BS. Thank you, just thank you. And then he announces, yeah, like he announces the price, and that was pretty much the end of the session for that. So here are my positives and negatives of the E3 PlayStation Sony PlayStation conference. The positives, the partnerships with the game developers. Like they showed some pretty good games, and the fact that they're partnering with these indie game developers that kind of left Microsoft alone because of the fact that they have such a chokehold on, like the user gamer market and all this feature where it needs to be connected to the internet 24/7 in order for it to function properly. The ones that left, they kind of went to Sony and they created these partnerships, and hey, that's good that they picked them up. It's $100 less. PlayStation Plus members get one free game a month. You can play used games on it. It doesn't need to be connected to the internet, to an internet source to function properly. You don't need to check back periodically for authentication in order to play your games. If you're downloading a game off a PlayStation Network, you can play it while it's loading. You get early access to betas. They didn't have, like they didn't shove smart glass down your throat. That smart glass technology down your throat like Xbox One did, Xbox had like an entire fucking segment of nothing but smart glass, and it was like smart glass, smart glass, smart glass. Even though they showed it, they didn't really say anything about it. You know what I mean? They only showed it once, and they didn't even talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like they just showed it on screen. So that was a positive for me. You get a ton of exclusive content for your video games that for the PlayStation 4. You can use your PlayStation Plus account on all PlayStation, consoles and devices. Um, from the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and the PlayStation Vita, and you can move your account from your PlayStation 3 to your PlayStation 4 free of charge. Some of the negatives, it wasn't explained if they were going to give you one game a month, you know what I'm saying, or if you were going to be able to select one free game from like a handful of games. Um, uh, Needing a PlayStation Plus account in order to play online like that was it was kind of a letdown. But at the same time, I understand why they did it. I understand why they did it. People were complaining about it during the era of the PlayStation 3, and hey, they listened and hey, they paid attention. But it still kind of sucks in my opinion. They didn't speak on whether or not if it was going to be backwards compatible. So that was one of the iffy things. They didn't speak on whether or not you'll be able to play PlayStation 3 games on the PlayStation 4. It was a rumor going around that you wasn't going to be able to do that. So there it is. And another thing that Assassin's Creed 4 crashed during the demo. So that was an embarrassing moment for them. And I hoping that they can fix that before it actually gets released to the public, because it will be sucky if consumers buy this game and the PlayStation 4 isn't able to handle those graphics. That would suck. And they didn't give like a solid release date. Like they said that it will be coming around the holiday season, but then again, like that could mean anything from like Thanksgiving, in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, on Christmas, or like during the week of Christmas, during December. Like they didn't give it like a solid date. With the Xbox One, it's coming out in November. Like when it's going to come out. They just said during the holiday season. So I'm assuming that it's going to be during Thanksgiving, Christmas-ish, around that time. But yeah. But what I think they're going to do, for some reason, I feel like they're going to wait till after Microsoft releases the Xbox One, and then they're going to release the PS4, because they pretty much got the console game war won. They pretty much have it won hands down, like without a doubt. They're not putting a stranglehold on the consumer. They're allowing the consumer to share games between friends. You don't have to worry about all this check back to authenticate your games, otherwise the game is going to stop. It doesn't need to be hooked up to an internet source 24/7, because they should have been smart enough to Microsoft should have been smart enough to know that what if somebody doesn't have internet? I mean, I don't know who wouldn't have it at this point, but maybe somebody doesn't have internet. Maybe they don't have such a stable connection to where they can use the Xbox One like that. It's like they just ignored it. And it was one more thing that I meant to congratulate Sony on. They didn't bring up they didn't say, well, what they didn't do is that they didn't bundle the the PlayStation Eye with the um with the PlayStation 4. But then again, like they didn't even speak on it. Like they didn't even talk about it. So from all accounts, it's like it's not bundled with the PlayStation 4. But I would still like to have heard them say something about it though. So yeah. So as far as the console war, PlayStation 4 has this hands down. I mean, this is not even a contest anymore. Basically, I look at it like this: You have PlayStation 4 up here on the throne, and then you got Xbox One floating all the way down here, and he goes into this little land of obscurity, and he meets his little friend down here, and he's like, "Oh hey, how you doing? Oh hey, how you doing? Hey, what's your name?" On the Xbox One. "Oh, what's your name?" Oh, like, what's your name? The Nintendo Wii U. "Oh, what are you doing down here?" "Oh, just floating around here in obscurity, all alone." "Hey, you want some company?" "Sure. Let's go." Oh, that's basically how I see it. Is that the Xbox One, because of all those restrictions, it's not going to sell well. The only ones that are going to buy that are like people who are doing video games for like a living, and like they do like the year-end series, and they got to factor in all the games, so they're going to have to buy it if that's their job. There's the hardcore fanboys that for no reason they will ever turn that back on Xbox, which I've seen a lot of them do because of the restrictions of the system. And the people who may not have the equipment to stream on Twitch TV that may want to do it, they'll be able to do it through Xbox One. But that's the only people that I can see that I can see them selling to. The average person, if they have a choice on whether or not they want to buy one or the other, obviously they're going to go for the PlayStation 4 because you don't have to deal with all the hassle. So that's my thoughts on the E3 Sony conference. Like I said, I wasn't going to do the EA or the Ubisoft conferences because I didn't pay attention to those. I didn't care for them. But yeah, so that's going to be it, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And the link is going to be a link to the conference for Sony, and on the Xbox video there will be a link to their conference in the video description as well. So in case you guys haven't seen them, you'll be able to see them for yourself. So with that being said, peace, and I'll see you guys later.